All right, we are live. I am very, very excited to be here today with the JC Penney team. And this masterclass is going to be really exciting, especially if you are a UK resident that has bought or is looking to sell a holiday home that you've acquired in Florida. The JC Penney team specializes in helping UK and international home buyers and sellers when it comes to doing just that, buying a property here in Florida or selling their holiday home here in Florida. I want to go ahead and open the floor up to everybody here for some introductions. We're going to kick off with Boss Man John. John, if you could give a little bit background on who you are, how the JC Penney team started, and how you've helped so many UK residents when it comes to buying and selling a holiday home here in Florida.
Perfect. Thanks, Austin. I appreciate that. Well, it has been a long time. I've lived in Florida since 1972, so I kind of was here back when the orange groves and the cows were out. That's kind of was our claim to fame for Florida. We've been in the real estate company and the real estate business since 2003, so we're looking at, I guess, 22 years now. We're located in Champions Gate. That's where our office is. It's right kind of in the middle of, we call it the Golden Triangle. It's right close to Disney and I-4 and all the attractions. Um, our primary focus, I would say, over the years, and you've probably seen this, whether it's been at Excel or any of the other venues, with A Place in the Sun. We've been doing that now, 15, 18 years, I guess. Right Move, we were their first partners in Florida. So if you've been on the Right Move portal, you'll have seen this JC Penney Realty there. But our primary focus is short-term rental. We do work with people looking for second homes or residential homes, but we look for the short-term rental market and we help buyers and sellers either find their dream home, or when they've either grown out of it or want to downsize, we help them sell it and move to something different. But that's kind of who we are.
Wonderful.
Mark, could you give an introduction to yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. Mark Colvin. I am a longtime resident of that same area we refer to as the Golden Triangle or Four Corners. Been here since 1991, watched all this stuff grow up. When I first moved to the area, there wasn't a stoplight in between I-4 and 27. And now there's 100.
Yeah,
So I've been friends with John for a long time, and now coworkers with John for a long time. Can't say enough good things about the guy. He's just a heck of a wonderful human being. But yeah, our goal here is to service and take care of people who want to buy and sell property in our area, with an emphasis on the short-term rental. What that means, how it operates. It's kind of a quasi-residential commercial sort of thing. It's got a lot of different angles to it, which brings our expertise with that sort of thing into play. We're pretty good at that aspect, and we like to make our people happy.
I love it. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. And Alexis, how about you?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Alexis McKenzie, and again, a proud member of the JCPenney team here with these gentlemen. And like both John and Mark said, we specialize in the Disney area for home sales. And so a lot of our knowledge is knowing the difference between the US and the UK process, and be able to kind of bridge that gap for our clients to understand how they differ and be able to explain the US process in a nice palatable way, so to speak, and help our sellers get to a smooth closing. So we are excited to help educate anybody who wants to know about the US process.
Yeah, I love it. Now, and we're gonna do just that. So I have a series of questions here for you all, and I'll just let you kind of go at it and decide who's gonna answer what and is best fit to do it. So we're gonna kick it off here. I want to know, what is the biggest difference between selling a home in Florida here in the U.S. versus the UK?
I'll take that one. Um, there's a lot actually. Most people think we're just selling a house, no problem. Um, but we actually just came through one that was a a buyer was looking to buy a property in the UK, and we went 4 months past the contract closing date for his US property because of the headaches that were happening in the UK. So if we're going to start with what happens, we don't have chains over here. We don't have those multiple ones where someone at the bottom of the chain falls out and then every other deal that was in process all comes away and just falls out. So for us, that's a good thing. We have no gazumping. So if you are a buyer or seller, you're locked in with that buyer or seller. You're not going to get gazumped and you're not going to lose the deal. Um, Closing, when we talk about closing, the final day of closing is a lot different. You do what's called exchange, and then 2 to 3 weeks later, you have closing where you actually move in or move out. To me, that would be very stressful to know that I could go for 2 or 3 more weeks and still not actually have a closing. Um, so there's a lot of things that are different, but most of the things that we have are different are things that protect the buyer and the seller. So I'll leave it at that. We'll add more to it. But for me, it's a very safe place to buy and sell.
Mm, love it. Thank you, John. I appreciate that background on it. Now, then my next question is this. Why is it so important for someone to hire a realtor here in the US or in Florida? And what exactly is that realtor going to be handling that's different from estate agents in the UK?
Well, I'll take that one. The both sides are represented here in the U.S. That's just part of how we operate. As realtors, we're professionals with that experience. There's roughly 150 to 200 steps from beginning to end for your average residential real estate transaction. So, why you would want to use a professional when you've got that many questions and that many issues? I guess it would be kind of self-explanatory. If you wanted to operate on yourself for a condition, why hire a doctor? Well, they know a lot more than you do. So we've seen it all. We've gone through those transactions. We've seen a lot of things, and know what not to do as much as what to do. We answer a lot of questions, educate, as Alexis says, and it all adds up to a nice, solid transaction and closing at the end of it.
I love it. Thank you, Mark. That's helpful there. Yeah, John, do you want a second to something there?
I was just thinking what Mark was saying about why use a realtor, and I would also say that's maybe one of the things that's different from the UK to the US. In the UK, you only have seller representation. There's nobody representing the buyer. And what we have found, and both of the people on the screen right now are working in a situation right now where the buyer's agent who's representing the buyer or working for the seller has not been as helpful and forthcoming with their buyers to help get them through the process. We've had to do a lot of hand holding on the buyer side, even though we're not working for them. We're working to try to keep the deal together and make sure nobody gets hurt. So the good thing about the US and working with a realtor is work with a good realtor, someone who knows what they're doing and can help walk you through it. You say, well, I don't need it. You actually do. There's a lot of steps, a lot of potential pitfalls that we want to make sure that you don't have any issue with. So
Love
that
it.
would be the only reason I would add to that.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to segue into once your property's actually sold, and like how do you safely and efficiently transfer the proceeds back to the UK bank account for the seller?
I'll take that one. It's
Love
my
it.
turn. All these gentlemen doing the talking. Um, so that is a great question because a lot of times what is not known information or maybe common knowledge is that once your money is here in a US bank account, it is actually difficult to get it back to the UK unless you're here in person to do that wire transfer. And most of our sellers are not returning to the US. They are doing a remote sale and a remote closing that we're assisting them with, and they don't have intention of returning. They've possibly already done their last hurrah on their home and are not going to be coming back in order to be able to do that last transfer. So what we do is we will help our sellers set up a currency exchange account. We have different currency exchange partners that we work with, one being Currencies Direct. We highly recommend. They have their foothold in the real estate industry, so they're very familiar with how it all works. and they help make it a very smooth process. But basically what happens is at the sale, at time of sale, all of the proceeds will be transferred into that currency account, exchange account. And then from a computer remotely, the owner can then push a button whenever they want it transferred into their UK account. So it's a very smooth transaction. There's not a lot of fees involved. It is the best exchange rate possible, better than what the banks will offer. So it is definitely the best route to go. And we can dive into all the details of how and why and all the numbers with our sellers. But that is the biggest thing to know, is that it is not as simple as throwing the money into a US bank account and hoping to get it back to the UK.
Yeah, I can imagine that it couldn't be that simple. So I love that. Thank you for the explanation there in regards to the partners, the wire transferring, like everything of that nature, and how you can do it remotely. But I hear about this word a lot. It's called FERPTA, and I keep hearing about it. What is it? How does it affect UK sellers, and what should they know about it?
Well, that's an acronym, FIRPTA, Foreign Investment Real Property Tax Act, came about in the US in 1980. And it's a way for our illustrious Internal Revenue Service to make sure that they get their cut before money leaves the country. And it's as simple as that. A transaction involving a UK seller would require the buyer to withhold 15% of the proceeds from that sale and let the tax process work its way through. The following tax year, you file your taxes. A lot of times, our sellers see with deductions much less than 15%. But that's how it works. You've just got the IRS getting their cut, and then once the tax window closes, that amount is then sent off to the seller as the final step in the transaction.
Got it. That makes total
That makes
sense.
sense.
It does. It does. So, kind of to segue into like if we had been using this holiday home as a short-term rental when we're not, using it and not there to be able to enjoy it here in Florida, if someone in the UK has a holiday home that's being rented, can they still list it for sale? And what happens to the upcoming guest bookings?
Yes. That is a great question. That is something that a lot of our owners inquire about because, like you said, they are using it as a short-term rental. And as a gentleman with me also know, we work a lot with property managers here in town. So we are very familiar with most of the outfits. And we will communicate with them. We'll be in touch with them, and we will work with them on behalf of the owner to make sure that we know what the booking calendar is. So if there are current bookings and we do list the home for sale, that we don't show the home to a potential buyer while there's a guest there. We obviously want to make sure that the guest bookings are honored and that they have a lovely vacation without us interrupting them. So we do work very closely with the property managers to make sure of that. And then once you get an offer, we will also work with the property manager. If the future bookings will convey, we can assist the seller and the property manager in communicating on how to transfer them to the buyer.
Mm.
Generally, if there's a lot of income in the future, it is a nice addition to the sale and to the listing. So it can be a marketable asset.
Mm.
So we can assist with that and help with everything involved.
I love it. That makes sense. So that's actually a really good process because if you are another individual buys it as a short-term rental and they know there's a lot of income upcoming with other guests, it's extremely marketable. So that's great to know. Thank you so much for that, Alexis. I do have one more
Austin,
question. Yeah, go ahead.
we both of us we were just talking about that earlier with another buyer, and the decision to buy a certain house came down to the seller was very proactive about keeping the bookings in place, and they transferred one of the houses was a smaller one, but it transferred $48,000 in bookings to
Mm,
the new buyer. And when you can walk into a transaction as a buyer with $48,000 and the seller was able to keep years of past clients very happy that that house was still going to be available, so he got to keep his, because a lot of times you become friends with the renters who are in there because they come in, they talk to you, they give you feedback, so you get to know them. And that worked out really well. And then we had a bigger house, I think it was like an 8-bedroom house, that had over $115,000 in bookings that conveyed to the new buyer as long as they stayed with the management company. So those are things that we try to work with to try to help out the buyer and the seller, so the sellers get to keep everything that they had in place, everything going, and the buyers get to walk into a running business, which is quite helpful.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing because and I love that you were able to kind of picture that into like a use case there that you've currently gone through and what you've gone through in the past. The one with 150,000, oh my gosh, like that's incredible to I mean, it'd be hard not to buy that property if that
Exactly.
already had those amount of bookings. So
Yeah.
how do the exchange rates actually impact what a UK resident that's selling their Florida property will walk away with after the sale?
It we actually do some test cases to figure out. We find out first of all when the seller bought the house, because we want to find out what their exchange rate was when they bought it. Did they pay cash? Did they mortgage it? But one that I just kind of picked out as an example was a little 3 bedroom, 2 bath that was bought in June of 2015. The purchase price was 155,000. Now he need to do some work to it, but 155,000 is what he paid for it. So he brought over 100,000 pounds to buy it because the exchange rate was 155. We just sold it, or will be selling it in May, for 330,000. So he's going to make a profit on the house of 175,000. That's good. What a lot of people don't take into consideration, he's also making $73,120 on the exchange rate, because
Mm.
the exchange rate now is 1.33. So we've had people come over and buy property at 2 to 1, 180 to 1, 175. So right now with the exchange rate low, 135, 133, 132, it's going up. So if I was a seller, I'd be looking right now to try to maybe look at potentially selling it now, before the exchange rate keeps climbing. Um, but it's one of those that you can make money on the appreciation and on the currency exchange rate too. So it works both ways. Yes, Alexis.
Real quick, just to add to that example, I think we also get a lot of calls from sellers. So if anybody's in this boat where they purchased, maybe 5, 10 years ago, but there are some when at the height of the market where the rate right now in our market, they will have to sell for the same price they bought for, but
Mm.
they can still make money. So not to shy away, because the currency differences between when they bought and sold, like John is talking about, there is still a profit to be made, even if the home doesn't necessarily have equity in it at the moment, depending on when and how much they bought for. So it's definitely a conversation to have, and give us a call. Like John said, he's got a chart, I'm sure, that he refers to all the time, but we can run different examples and help someone understand the benefit of keeping or selling, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I love it. And in fact, it seems to be beneficial, buying a property here in Florida from the UK because of that exchange rate. Like sometimes you don't even think of that, the appreciation of the asset itself, but then also the profits you can make off of the exchange rate and where it's at. Thank you so much. This has been a really helpful, I'm sure, for anybody watching this master classes that one, you guys know what you're talking about. You actually live it and breathe it. You have a lot of experience with it. You could tell just from the stories you've told. So, what's the best way for someone in the UK that has a holiday home? Maybe they're interested in selling or even potentially buying a new one, buying another one. What's the best way for them to reach out to the team at JC Penney team?
The easiest way I would do is I would just do info@jcpenneyteam.com, um, or John or Alexis or Mark at jcpenneyteam.com. Any one of us, go on the website, look at us, look at our bios. The biggest thing I would take away from this is a phone call, an email, something to just start the conversation back and forth. Let us run a market analysis of your house in a specific neighborhood at this current time, just to see where we're at. We might talk to you and say, you know what, we might do better off selling in 6 months or waiting until Christmas gets here when the height of the rental market's just packed, and we'll see what that looks like. Or we might say, perfect time is right now. Let's go ahead and get on the market. We'll do some staging, some photos, some videos. We'll get it out to the masses. We'll make sure it gets marketed the right way. the biggest thing is pick up the phone, pick up and type on the email, give us a call, let us know that you're interested or you got questions. Let us see what we can do to help.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for doing this today. Hope that it helps somebody watching this. And again, you heard John there. It's info@jcpennyteam.com. And I do see a phone number there back behind John on his screen. So if you need to pause the video and type that phone number in, that's the number to call as well. So thank you all so much for the time, and looking forward to doing some more of these with you in the future.
You're welcome. Thanks.